Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. If this is your first time tuning in, hi, hello, welcome, thank you. Get on up in here. Please follow us on YouTube at Inappropriate Radio TV. Now, you already know the creator came through with a message. Alright, so guys, I work with autistic kids, right? And was it yesterday? Yesterday, I seen these kids talking in a language. I'm not trying to be funny. It didn't sound like alien language, but it definitely sounded like something from another dimension, bro. I swear. And I'm laughing because they were really engaging in dialogue. And it was like, what are y'all saying? Now, we've had several conversations, right, about the autistic community. We did one segment about how it is a blockage, how it is as a result of magic, how it is, we did another segment about how the souls of these people are experiencing a different warp, right? Their souls are attached to a different timeline, so they're struggling catching up to this cycle, right? We even just recently had a conversation. I believe maybe it was the same segment. I have to really sit down and think about it, or go through my notes or the actual segments to look at the titles to be able to make the distinction. But we even talked about how these souls, right, these autistic children are definitely representatives. They're, and when I said that they were people trying to be, that are trapped, these were our ancestors who were having a hard time communicating with us. And there's a language barrier there. So this blew my mind, right? Because I'm like, am I hearing that language? Like I said, this was yesterday. So, and I thought about it a little bit throughout the day, and then it went out my mind. And then today it popped back up in my head, and I'm like, I wonder what the hell they were saying, right? So then I got the download. The creator basically told me to tell everyone, especially the parents and family members who are very close, who are in consistent close proximity to these autistic children, if they are not nonverbal but they're having problems, really just listen to them and pay attention to the things that they're saying, that they're trying to say. And what you think it might sound like is a lot of children who in the past 20 years have been born with autism. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about anything, with that. But obviously something's going on, right? If we're seeing more and more of it, especially in certain communities. And as we know, it's common knowledge that there are mainly boys who are diagnosed with autism, right? So it brought me back to the whole transitioning of the genes, and we had talked about it. It was more so related to the same-sex segments and the different spiritual, aspects where different souls are coming back in the form of another person, but they're still trying to get back to that gender. We talked about that, right? But it just brought me back to that. And then I started thinking, I'm like, what are the percentages, the numbers? That's really important, right? If autistic people are rising, is this just the cycles changing, and are we seeing some sort of evolution here? Like, is something wrong? Because there's so much of it. Is it a part of nature? Is this something that... And I'm asking this, this is a question that I'm posing. Because still, no one knows the cause of it, right? And most of the things that there's absolutely no explanation for are indeed spiritual, right? So, yeah, like, what are your thoughts on autism? And again, remember, there is no one set thing. Every case is literally different. Now, of course, there will be some similarities. You will be able to build off of the data that is already out there, yada, 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 right? But I mean, let's take a deeper look at this, because we all know nothing can penetrate God in his word. I mean, I hope you know that. But moving right along, there's no way, if God wanted these kids to have a certain life, he would have given it to them. So why are these souls allowed to come into the dimension under these circumstances? We can't keep blaming, I mean, we can, but I mean, like, the environment and the food, and of course, all of those things are traumatic. Actually, I don't think we realize how much we actually take in on a daily basis as a society, right? We take in a lot, and a lot of people are led to balance that stress out with whatever vices they have. It doesn't even have to be like drugs. It could just be the game, right? It could be playing a game all day. It could be having sex all day. It could be eating all day. It doesn't have to be drugs. So, in the interim, it's important for us to stay focused, right? But because this is what it means, the next generations, if they're autistic, is it that their vibration is going to be suitable for the next few cycles that are coming up? What does that say about where we're headed as a nation is what I'm getting at. And maybe is that the reason for AI? Right? To have things thinking on that standard, right? AI would be the standard, because there are going to be so many more people that are going to be born with autism, and no one is going to be able to gauge what is normal anymore. It's going to shift dramatically, drastically. Like, it's going to be just whoever knows the shit is going to be the fucking, whatever, the head of the jungle, whatever you want to call it. Right? But this is that conversation. This is that conversation where, and I hope other people, I know other people are also having this same, or at least a similar conversation. Everybody's worried about the future, right? The direction that we're going in as, a people. Doesn't matter the race. This is way beyond race. I'm speaking the planet, the world that we live in, right? I'm not talking about race right now. Even though that may also be a factor, right? But that's a whole nother topic. So I believe that the more we start to focus on the autistic children, we might start finding certain answers. And I think gaining a bit of a better understanding of autism would be very beneficial for us all. And there's a lot of different things you learn about the senses, and it's just a lot of different things that it would require its own segment, to actually go into. And maybe we'll do that after, get the permission from the creator, of course. And I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not like an expert. I don't know anything at all, okay, about autism. I did work with autistic children, so I know basic stuff. And I probably don't even know all the basic stuff, right? Because, again, every case is different. So at this point, I believe that knowing what it means to be autistic, like just what are the few qualifications, I think that's a good starting point. And then maybe we could start being able to think along the lines of a person who might be autistic, because that definitely was not a language of this place, I'm telling you. And they were going back and forth. Like, they literally understood each other, bro. And I'm just looking like, wait, I didn't interject. I was just like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this? It wasn't Google Gaga baby talk. It was an actual, I swear, it was an actual conversation. Yeah, I think we might do a series. I think that's what the creator might be leading us into. Hopefully you guys have been studying the periodic table. Hopefully you've been studying your elements. But yeah, that's what I forgot to say. No periodic table or alien talk, because I wanted to get right into, I didn't even want to do the intro, bro, because it was like, what? And then the downloads just started flooding in. But yeah, this is very important because of the prevalence that we are seeing, because of, the awareness needs to, learning anything, information is always good. But because we're seeing so much of it, you never know when it can affect you directly. It doesn't even have to be a child in your family. It could be one of your friends' family members. Yeah, I don't really understand the different components as it pertains to the genetic side of it, because it is considered to be one of those spectrum disorders. However, the physical aspect of it, and remember, we've had conversations about how the spiritual gifts are related to certain organs, right, on the body, and how we are using certain points on our body as different entry points, aka portals, and how there's more than 14, yada, yada, yada. There's a great sensitivity. That is the one constant thing. Just think about this. It doesn't matter, right, what they do or what they don't do, high functioning or low functioning. There is this great sensitivity to sound, taste, sight, touch, the senses. All right, like y'all, Peace.